Hello everyone watching, welcome back into this tutorial. So in this video I'm taking you through database programming, and we are going to use commands in this video. So we shall be using shell, which is just right from here, and we are going to use the CMD for XAMPP. I'm going to explain everything as we are going to see in this video. So guys, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell such that you don't miss this interesting video. In this video, you will be having a possibility of handling database for your client, and you can do everything in this very video. So let us go straight to the video. So the first thing we shall do straight, if you don't have XAMPP in your laptop, so this is the XAMPP that we are going to use. So if you don't have, you will go straight from your browser and then you type XAMPP. If your laptop is 32 bits, then you can go with this, or you can just go straight and just type from here. Then we have this from here. You can click any of this, either from here, you click on it, and then you can choose based on your laptop. So this supports, this is for Windows, so it works all in Windows. Using Linux, you will also have from here. If you are using OS, then also it will work for you, so you don't need to worry of what you are using. And so I have already downloaded and I have it already installed here. The first step after installing this, click on the XAMPP Apache, turn it on, and then click on the MySQL and also turn it on. It will be running in the spots from here. So the next thing we are going to do is click on the shell, and so we shall have something like this. When we are basically handling XAMPP database and we are using shell and command, make sure that the first command step that you follow, it is MySQL. H stands for localhost. Localhost, so this means we are handling this locally. So we have the one for online and locally. So H stands for localhost, and we have U, and this U stands for root, and then we have the P. This is exactly what you have to write. Press enter. When you press enter, it will ask for the password. So this is what you have to do. Do not provide the password. Do not give the password. So if you give the password, it will be denied, so it will not work. So you have to make sure that you don't provide the password. Okay, and so the next thing you need to know is, if you don't turn on your XAMPP Apache and MySQL, and then we proceed with this from here, and you have something like this, we shall find errors. We can't connect to MySQL server on localhost. So that means that it is very, very important that you turn on Apache and MySQL, and then things will be fine. So okay, so let's go on. I'm just going to push this thing down here. Let me just create another one, and then we proceed from here. Okay, so this is what we have to do. So we say this will be MySQL. H stands for localhost. We have U stands for root, and then we have P stands for password. Press enter and then press enter again. No password, just press enter. When you have pressed that, you'll have this welcome to MariaDB monitor. So when you see the word MariaDB, this means you're already in the database. Now the telling us commands ends with the termination. This exclamation this is a termination that you, or we have what called this, I don't know if it is called slash or something, but I call it /G. So that is a short format in case I don't use the word termination. Then when come to type for help, in case I'm to type the word help, this is the word the command means I need to terminate. If I write the word help, I can terminate. Then if I don't want to write this whole word help, I can put this slash and H. So H will stand for the word help. If I'm writing the word doctor, I can write DR. That is in our normal English. If you write doctor and write DR, it stands for doctor. So also when it comes to here, if I'm writing help, I can use the word H. If I put this, then I give H, I just press enter. So this is what helps mean here. So they will be giving us list of all client commands from here. Note that all text commands must be first on line and end with this termination from here. And for example, if I'm to write this, if I want to clear, I would just put that /c, and this is to clear the current input statement. And connect, I would write the word error. So this means if I write connect and I terminate, instead of doing this, then I would just put /error. Now from here we have the word MariaDB, and this is none. So being none, this means we don't have the database so far. It means we have not selected database from there. That's why it is none. Now when you just install XAMPP on your laptop, you will be provided with example of a database that is called test. Now test is an example of database that is given to you, and you are free to use in case you want, or if you don't want, still you can create your own database. So this is the command we do in case we want to see what is in the database. So this is what we call show databases. If I do that, then I will terminate, and so I'll press enter. So if you don't terminate, this is what it does. You'll find that kind of arrows. So that arrow means you are still here. That's what I can call. You are still here and you have not moved any step. To provide where you're stopping is to provide that termination, meaning that your command ends there. So you need to provide that command. So that means that we would provide from here. But so let me just give it from here, and then I press enter. So if I press enter, that's what we shall find. Now database is composed of information schema, MySQL, performance schema, PHP MyAdmin, and then what we call test. That's what we say. Test is an example of database that is given to you, and so you are free to use if you want, or if you don't want, still you can just create yours. Okay, so let us just go straight and we create one database from here, and we see what to do next. Okay, so the command we are going to handle this is what we call create. Create, then we give database. Create database, and database name we can call, let us say we are going to create database, and the database is for a school. And so I don't know which school we can use, but let me just call it school. So we shall have this being school. So we shall terminate this, press enter. When you press enter, you'll find query OK. Query OK, this means what we have done is correct, and so it has affected on that second, 0.002 seconds. So okay, so from here, that is it. So this means that, let me just try to show if that database is already there. So this is what we shall call show databases. So if we go back here, we shall find our school is already here. So we need to bring that database we have created, which is this one. We need to replace with the none. So that means we need to select that database inside here. So this is what we are going to do to handle that. We shall say use our database, and the database is called school. So don't make a mistake by saying use database school. No, this does not work. This is not a command here. Use database school is not a command here. A school is already a database. If you do this, we shall end up finding error. So we shall find unknown database called school. So this command does not work here. So what instead we have to use is, since our data school is already a database, so we shall just say use school, and that is it. If we press enter, we shall find our command being changed from being none to being that school that we have selected as being our database. Now the next thing we are going to see is, if we try now to say show tables. Now right from here, if we press enter, we shall find empty set. That means in our database we have nothing at all like table. Let us see how we can create table from here. So okay, to create table, we shall just go straight and we say create table. I'll give the table name. If it is a school, so we can have a table name called student. So let us have student, and so we can list the information. So I open the bracket, then I feed in with what is required inside. So we can drop this down, or we can just continue with the information inside here. But for this case, I just need to drop this thing down so that you can see exactly what we are doing. So this will be kind of paragraphing way, or how I can call it, but you can just drop this down from here, just as we say that this arrow still means we are still here. So it is okay. That's why we terminated this in the first place, and it worked. Okay, so let's go down here still, and then we give now inside the table it is a student, so we need to have a student ID. You can just give the words STN, I call it ID. So ID is a number kind of, so we can provide this as being int. So int is 11 by default. I already have the videos that I explain some of things concerning this, and so I also provide this in this video. You can see it on top there, and also you can check in the video description in case you want to see more. Okay, so int is 11 by default, so this means if I don't give the value 11 and just leave it like that, it will create for me. So but still this does not mean that if I give 10 will not work. So it will work. If I give 9 it will work, but its default is 11. That's what I'm trying to say from here. Let me just give it 9, and or we cannot give, and it will just provide that from there. So we shall have this, and so I have this not null. Not null is like I don't know exactly the value that will be provided from there, but so it's the system that will handle all that from there. So if this is the ID for that table, which is a student, then we need to define this ID. There's a possibility that we can have teacher's ID inside student ID. So, but still, if it is like that, then we need to define the main ID for that table, and that's what calls for what we call primary key. Primary key. So primary key defines the ID for that table. So this means that it defines it once, and so if you provide other IDs, you don't need to bring the primary key because it is defined once from there. So we shall have that, and so I'll give this being auto increment. Being auto increment, this means if the system generates ID in registration, if someone is given ID 1, so another one is being registered, then it should give that ID as 2, so it should not jump to another ID. So we can have that like that, and so we need to provide more information. So that's me. I'll just provide this as a comma from this, and then we can have another one, student name, and this can be version. Now version ranges between 0 to 255. And so what we know with version is that it supports numbers and letters. So this means that if I'm also handling with the age, I can use number or I can use words in terms of that. So this still also when it comes to money, we can do with that way. So I can just have this 100, and I give this being not null. I give it a comma. I give this student subject. I will give it also version. And also maybe 120, I give this as being not null. I give this maybe student class version 130, let me say that, and not null. So let me just stop from here. So if this is it, remember we open this bracket from here, this part here, actually this one here. Now the next thing we have to do is to close this bracket. So we can close this bracket from here, or we can just push it down here and then we close. Now this what we need to know is that when we are handling here, we know that the commands end with the termination. As you see from here, it ends with the termination. So when we come back here, we need to provide a termination to show that we stopped from there. Now if you press enter and you find query okay, this means that what you have done is successful. So we have seen from here when we tried this command, show databases, and we found empty. So we had no database tables, sorry. So if we still come down here, do the same step as show tables, so press enter, we shall now find a table which is called student from there. Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is how do we see what we have in this table student, basing on the list that we have done from here. How do we see this? Okay, so let's just go on with this. This is what we are going to do. So the command will be disk. Now disk is the same way as to what we call describe. So if we say disk student and we terminate, we shall find a list of that information that we have done from there. Primary key is this from here. and default is not null, and we have the auto increment and the null values, the type. These are the types that we have from the list here. Our fields, which are this, they are also what is here. Okay, so I hope guys you have seen this. Now let's go into another step. So imagine I have done this information, and so the client is like, please, you needed to provide another information here. And so maybe the clients want us to add the age of student, maybe the fees as well. So let us see how we do this. Okay, so let us go straight and do this. Now this is what we are going to do in case for that reason. We shall use this command which is called alter the table. We said our table name is called student. That's a command we are going to use. Now we need to include other information inside here, and this is what we call add, because we are now adding the information inside. So shall say add student. So we said we are using this word stn, so this will be stn fees. Let me say that fees. So this also we said we can use this version. Let me say 129, and this is not null. So if we terminate this and we press enter, it will just go down below this class, student class. So we press enter, we shall find query OK, and we shall find row 0 being affected, and a duplicate is 0, so there's not another duplicate, that is 0 0. So our thing is sorted out. So if we go back and we describe, we say this is the same as describe student from here, and we try to terminate, we shall find our fees right from there. So I hope guys you're seeing how interesting this thing is going on. Okay, so I have done that, but imagine like this client wants the information not to be down. Let me say the student age. We have the student name, and now we needed the student age to be below the student name. After the student name, we needed the student age, then the subject, class, and fees. So, okay, so how these clients want this, so how can we do this? Okay, what can we do? Which command can I use? How can I handle that? Because I've been doing this, but this is instead pushing it down. So how do we do this? Okay, so let us just go straight and handle this. So still we shall use the same step, which is alter table, and the table name is still our student. That is what we are handling. And so we are adding another information, and this is a student age. Okay, so that's what we are having. Now the next thing we shall have still, this is, we shall use version, and so let us say this is a, okay, let me just give it 50. Okay, from that, so I'll have still this being not null. Now this is what you have to do after, just from here. Now to give this information to go on top of the student name, between the student name and the student subject, is to provide after. I need it to be afterwards. Then you select where you want to be after student name. Guys, I hope you're seeing how interesting it is now right from here. So if we try to press terminate this from here and press enter, we get our query OK. If we go back and try to disk, we shall find our information there. Now for you who's asking, what if I'm to provide all this information, I need to provide all once? The video is already there, you'll just check on it, and still, however, you can do the same thing. Once from here you have done, you just provide a comma, just the way we have done from here. You just provide a comma, then you give another one comma. But remember, you had already if you have already described this alter table student. Now the next thing you will be doing is just click add student blah blah, add student blah blah, comma, add student blah blah, until then you terminate. But however, still there's a video there that you will need to watch to see from there. So okay, so let's go on, and then if we go back and we describe our student from here, and then we terminate, we shall find our age, student age from there. So that is it. Okay, so guys, I hope things are getting more interesting. So now the next thing we want to do is this. Imagine I have done the information, and now the client wants me to change this information. We had STN ID, and now the client needs me to have the, let it be STD student, let it be STD ID, and have this ID being much more bigger than this. So the client is like, is there any way we can handle this to be more bigger? So okay, then maybe I'm like, okay, so let us use big int because it is 20 by default and it is bit much more bigger. So now the client is okay, so do that. Yeah, do that. Let's make that changes. Also this information, the clients are like, okay, so let us just have std instead of this. And also these values, let us just increase them or reduce them. So let us see guys how we can do this. So let us first handle this student ID and you see. So to do this, we shall use the word alter our table, which is student. Okay, so that is it. Now the next thing we are going to do is we need to change this information. So this we shall have change. Okay, let me just drop this thing down here. So I'll just change stn ID to another ID, like based on how we are renaming this. So don't write the word to from here, but just give us one single space and then give the changes you want. I want it to be as maybe std like that, and this is our ID. The client may not know all this information, but can just provide the ideas. Can't we make something bigger than that? So it is then upon you to say, okay, I think big int can work. So let me just say big int from there now. Okay, so have that, shall have big int, not null, or we can just do that, big int, and then we go on from there. Now, before providing anything, so there's also some mistakes that we always do, and we end up finding some issues. Okay, so when you have defined the primary key, you don't define it again. So if you define it, can't work. It is always defined once, and you can't have another primary key from there. When you have a parent who gave birth to you, if it is your dad and is at home, and your daddy's brother comes in, he does not become your biological father. So the person who owns that home is your dad. So the daddy becomes the primary key. So that's why we always define the primary key. That's why we can have other IDs inside that table, but the ID that is already defined as being the primary key, it's the one that dominates that table. I hope guys you have understood that. So also with this, you can't define it again. If we do that, we shall end up getting errors. So if we do it again and say this is now primary key, and we say not null and give this auto to increment, then we terminate this, we shall find multiple primary key defined. So if you have this, then that means it can't. If it is defined, then it's defined once. So if that is it, you don't need to define it again. So we just need to give this information. So this means I'm just going to remove this primary key from there, and I leave my information all like this. So I'll have my information from there. Now this next thing maybe that I need to explain is this from here. With the auto increment, you need to bring it back because it is needed. If you don't bring, then it will not come here again. That is the problem. If I remove this information and then I just stop from here like this, then I terminate. These errors we are getting because after this information which we have done from here, we did not bring this alter table. That's why it is not working, because it had to first have this command. So this would be let me just push this thing down a little bit down, just a distance from that error, so that you understand what I'm trying to mean. We did not provide this alter table being student. Okay, now this is what I'm trying to mean. When we have just like this and press enter, we shall find our information being right, and if we describe our student, we shall have that, but however we shall not have the auto increment. That's why you need to define this again once you have done that. So which this will be our alter table name is being student, and we are changing our student. So right now it has changed to this, so I can't bring this because it is not here. So I have to obey what is there. So this will be student ID 2. So I'm going to just maintain this std. So I'll just bring it back to std because it's what now we are changing to. So I've maintained that to this, and we say big int, it is already this one. So 20 by default, just as I explained. So also from here we shall just maintain that information, which this will be big int. So I'm just maintaining that. If I'm to change, I would change to anything else from here, but we can just have this big int. It does not stop us from giving other values like 19 down below, it is okay, or we can just leave it like that, and still also does not stop us from giving this word 20 inside here, so no problem from there still. Okay, so let me just give 18, or we can just maintain from there. Okay, just maintain, and so we shall have this not null, and we have our auto from here increment. So I'll just terminate that, then I'll have my information being there. So if I go back and we try to describe student, so it will come back. So that means that you have to bring it back, the auto increment. With the primary key, you don't need to bring it back when you have already defined. I hope guys you have seen that. Okay, so let's go on still to another step. Now if we have changed this, and now let us see how we can change also this. So still is the same step, so we can just say alter table. Our table name is student from there, and so down here we can just change. This is student name, maybe student, sorry, it is std name. So this is version. I can change the version to another value. Let me say it is 125, 1223, it is okay. Okay, so this may be not null. Can have that. If we do that, we shall find also query. Okay, that means our information, it's there, and you see it has changed to that. Now imagine me doing 1 1 1 1 1 1 all the time, 1 1 1. It's kindly time wastage. So let us just handle all these ones, these three. We can just handle all these ones from here. Can just handle all these ones. So this is just still the same thing. Alter table. Table name is student, and so let me just change student age to student age. Can have this version. Maybe I give this 30. Say this is not now. I'll give it a comma, then I can add another like that, comma. We can continue just from here. We can move on like this, or let me just push it down from here. And then still also don't forget the word change student subject to std subject. Can have this also being version. Let me give this to 100, and I say not null 2, and also still change. This is student class to student class. Have this being also version 160. I'll say this not null, comma. Okay, have that being comma. Okay, so if that is what we are ending from, then I will just terminate right now from there. So I hope all what we have done is right. I just hope so. If we press enter, we shall find our query. Okay, as you see from there, and so this means we have handled all these ones. And so if you go back and you describe our student from here, we shall find everything is sorted from there. Okay, so that is how we can do that. So let us see, how do we delete the information from here? Let me say we have the student ID and maybe it is not needed from here. So like imagine now we have already information, like we have this school fees. So let us see how can we delete. Let me say I don't need any of this from here. So how do we do this? Now this is what we are going to do from here. We shall just need to alter our table. Our table name is student, and we shall need to drop. So let me say we want to drop 1 from here. So I'll just say drop student is from here. If I press enter, we shall find query OK, and this applies in case we want to handle all ones from there. So if you go back and try to disk our student, we shall find only that is there. So this is how you can handle that. So I hope guys you have seen this. And so okay, so let's go on to another step. Okay, so if we just go right from here and we type this select all from our student, and so from here we shall find empty set. Now this step means if I want to see the values or the information that is in our table, so it means we have nothing at all from here. So let us insert values or insert information in here. We shall insert into, so this is what we shall use, the command we shall use from here, and this will be insert into our table which is called student. So insert into student, and so inside student, this is what we have the student ID, the student name, student age, student subject, student class from here. So we have that. Then we shall close this. Now we shall need to provide the values from here. So I'll open the bracket. Now when you provide this student ID, okay, when you're providing this, you have to make sure that you give exactly the same as what is here. If you give what is not there, then it will not work. You'll find errors. So we need to make sure that all what you given here is exactly what is in the fields. Then also from here, when you provide the student ID, then here we need to provide the word in null. So this null will move with the ID. Then we start provide the information. I'll give a comma. Then the next thing is, let me say the name John, John Patrick. From there, I give it a comma. Then next one is the age. The age is 15. And so the next one is subject. Let me say he's doing math. This is in senior 2. Let me say like that. So after that, we shall then close and we terminate. Let's just see this from here. So we shall find query OK. So if we go back and we select everything from student, so we shall find a new record from there, and we shall have that from there. Okay, I hope guys have seen that. So still, if you are to insert more than one information, if I do something like this, insert into students, then I just give the values as this being my, and I close this, we shall end up finding this error from here. So if we have this student values and we have this information, now this error is caused due to we did not provide this information on this part. So let me just remove this, and I bring back this from here. Just push down here, which is insert into this, and if we have this from there, okay, let us say like that, and then we press enter. So we shall not find this information. So because the thing is, the column count doesn't match values counts. So that means that we need to first provide the column counts, then with the values. That is the same way we have provided this information, which is just right from here, with relating to this. So I have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you will find that this matches as this is one person, this is one person, sorry, this one person, and so going with this and also with the information from there. So if we go beyond that, then it will not work out. But in other words, if we just insert the information, let me just insert into student, and in student, the student ID. So we can maybe eliminate the ID because we have already find the ID, so it will just bring the ID automatically. You can just go with the student name, subject, then you have student class. Okay, so then we shall give our values from here, and in the values we can have If you don't have the ID here, then we don't need to provide the ID here. We don't need to provide the null from here. So what we just need to do is we just need to go straight with our student name. So let me say the name is maybe the name is Kathy, and we have the subject, the class, maybe in senior 5. We have that. So I can close this. If I want to provide more than one value, then I'll give it a comma. I open the bracket again, and then remember, give this is it. Maybe that is the name, and so comma, and we have maybe it's doing English, and we have that. So if we close this, you can give a comma and provide more, then later you terminate. So I hope all what we have done is correct. So it's like we have made some mistake somewhere else. That's why we have this arrow from here. Looks like this where we have not, in this geography, we did not have that. That's why we have that issue. So with this, if you have this error still, you can't come and provide it from there. Remember, it's already a command. If you have done that, you can't go back and put it back again. So you can either start afresh, or if you do like this still, it can't move on. So I'll just provide that remaining one, then I terminate. So I'll find my error, then I will correct it. So that means I'll go back. It is this which is insert into, then I can just go back and correct where the error is, and it's like that. If that is it, I'll press enter. So we shall find our query. Okay, now we select everything from our student, and so we shall find 3 records from there. So that is it. Okay, so now let's see how do we update this information. From here, I don't have the age. Seems like I did not provide the age. So let us see how we update this on Kathy here. So let us handle that. So to update, we shall say update student, and then we shall need to set. So here we shall pick our column, then we provide the values depending on what we want to change. So it is now student, so we shall say set student age, because now this is what we want to change from here, student age. Now that's what we're handling this Kathy. So student age is equal to 14. We need to specify where it is handling, where our ID, where the student ID is equal to. So if this is where the 2 is equals to 2, then we shall terminate. Sorry on that, so I did not give this well, so this is it like that. So if we press enter, we shall find query. Okay, I mess up with this age, and so I did not give that age with E with there. So that's why it is, I was trying to say that you have to make sure that you give exactly what you have there. So if we have done like that, and we go back and we try to select everything from our student, we shall find everything there being right. So I hope now the second and the third you can handle that. So this is very simple still, and it's just the same procedure, which is still update, just still the same step. Update our student, which is our table, then we shall set student age, which will be equal to, let me say this is 12. So if I need to provide beyond that, maybe I need to change also this from English to another subject. So I give this a comma, then also I come here and I say this is a student subject, which maybe is equal to, let me say this is a physics. So where our student ID is equal to, then I specify where I want it to be. If it is on number 4, I give 4. If it is 3, I give 3. If it is 2, I give 2. So it will handle that. If I give 4, then I press enter, we shall find query okay. So if I needed to provide to do all once, then I'll give a comma, then I continue with another one. Select everything from student and we terminate, we shall find that. So guys, I hope I hope you are understanding. I hope things are going well. I will just want maybe display on a record from specifically that thing any that I need to. So if we type this, select everything from student where student ID is greater than 2. Now if I do this, so this will only display the information that is the ID is greater, and that is where we shall find these 2 going up is less, so 3 and 4 will be greater. So that's what will be displayed. So if I do the opposite or equal to 2 and I do this, this means we shall start from 2. Greater or equal to 2, so that means we shall start with 2. And if we do that, if it is less and less than 2, so we shall find only 1. And if we do that and we say is less than 1, so this means we shall not find any information from there. So I hope guys this is okay. Okay, so let us see how do we delete this information in case we want to delete. And okay, so let us just delete one information. So to delete this, what we shall say, delete from, then we specify where. Delete from our student where student ID is, if say is equal to 1, it will handle that. If say is greater or it is less than this, then it will handle those which are less to that, or those which are greater to that. So if I just specify which is equal to 4, then I do this, we shall find query okay. This means if we select everything from our student and we display, we shall no longer have that the 4th information from there. I hope guys things are moving well. Now before ending this video, so let us look onto one thing that we need to sort it out. Okay, so guys, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, please make sure to subscribe. And so if guys you have not yet if you have any challenge concerning database programming or related to any programming courses, you can feel free to send the feedback. And if you need also a private lesson concerning any language, either it is if you have issues with Bootstrap HTML, or if you have any issue with PHP, or if you have a website still that you need someone who can handle it, still also if at all it's mobile app development, still you can feel free. So let us still move on from here. And so the next thing we want to do is, if you want to export your database, so how do we handle this? How do you handle this? Okay, so let us see how we can handle this. And let me just go back from here. And so this is my desktop, and so I have nothing from here. Okay, so let us just go back, which is we are here. So to handle this, so the first thing is you need to first know your laptop name. What the name of your laptop? Let me check for the laptop name. and so this is the name that I'm using here, and I've called it black eye. So I'm just going to copy it, Ctrl C, Ctrl Shift. I just want to copy that name. Okay, so that is it. So now we want to export this information. Let me first exit this record. Okay, so let me just exit this, and then we can just start from there. So what we are going to do straight, we shall type MySQL U, the same procedure we're doing, and this is my root, and so we have P still from that, and then we handle what was our database name. Our database name is called school, so this is school, shall have that being school, and so I'll have that greater, and then I'll have my C with that from there, so that is in the C, local disk C. And then the next thing is I'll have this from there, that slash, and then I'll have my users from there, and the lab users, the laptop users, then I'll have that from there, and then the name of my laptop, and I have that is the name that we are having. Then let me just, I want to drop this in the desktop, so I'll just type the desktop, and so its name will be, this will be school.sql. So when you have something .sql, that will be the database. So I hope what I've done is right, and you can just leave it like that. So I'll just press enter. So if I go back here, so it is already here. I hope guys you can see, which is now already that. So that is it guys. And so still, when you are to export this very information, if you are to export this database, then you will just need to go back, and so to export this database, if like I don't have the database which is already there, but if you want to export this, this is the command you will use, which will be MySQL U, which stands for root, P. So we shall just have MySQL U root and then P. Then we shall have our database, which is called school, and then from there we shall have that, the less sign, and then we shall have our capital C, and we have that. So we have this still is from the users, which is the users, and then we shall have still right from here the name, which is that's the name of my laptop name that I have used from there. Then the next thing we shall do is to bring that, which is our table name, which is school.sql. So but still also I need to specify this, which will be our desktop from here. And so if I have this, it will work out. So but you will need to make sure you are inside, then everything will be sorted out. So guys, thank you for watching this video, and I hope I tried my best to summarize some of the information that you guys have been facing. And so I hope in case there's any issue that you have seen that I did not handle in this video, or if there's anything that I have handled but it is not in the right way, then still you can feel free to leave a comment. And so please don't forget to subscribe. There are more videos that we are having in this channel that still you can see. Guys, thank you for watching this video, and I'll be happy to see you in the next video. See you soon.